ברוכים הבאים לכנס הרצליה 2024.
2024 Herzliya Conference. If we hear sirens, you must remain seated in your place for 10 minutes. It's important to remain seated in order to avoid any harm, and we will all become better friends if we have to sit together through a siren. We'll have a great time. We will start the conference with a moment of silence in memory of all those who have been murdered, the IDF fatalities, the IDF and security forces fatalities on October 7th, and following that in the Iron Swords War. Please rise. The names of soldiers from Reichman University who have been killed: Major Benjamin Benji Trakinski, Major in Reserves Dror Zimmer, Major in Reserves Moshe Yedidia Leiter, Arnon Zmora from the Israel Police, of blessed memory, Gidon Chai Dero, Staff Sergeant in Reserves, Staff Sergeant in Reserves, David Schwartz, Staff Sergeant in Reserves, Yosef Githerz, Staff Sergeant in Reserves, Omer Balwa, Ini Nachman, Liam Shrem, Omri Ram, of blessed memory. You may be seated. We have here with us in the audience the President's wife, Mrs. Michal Herzog. Welcome. She is a friend of this university and has been one for so many years. Thank you so much for everything that you've done and the dozens of students whom you've helped and which you're still helping. So thank you so much for being here. I must note Daniel Husidman because you are sitting in the Husidman Hall, and if Daniel Husidman would not have been here, our hombre, then we wouldn't have had a hall. So thank you very much, Daniel Husidman. And I would like to introduce Professor Boaz Gadnor, the president of the Reichman University. It's not easy being the president of the Reichman University when you start your term in a war and 55% of your students are drafted, called up for reserve duty. You need to somehow navigate this ship very cleverly, with patience and with leadership. And we all owe Professor Gadnor. We owe you. I'd also like to greet Professor Rafi Melnik, the outgoing president. I'd also like to greet our dear friend Joey Lowe, who helps this university a lot, and your excellencies, ambassadors and consuls. I'm delighted to introduce Major General in Reserves Amos Gilad, the chair and the head of the IPS conferences, the Institute for Planning and Strategy of the Reichman University. His name precedes him, and in every conference I suggest take out a pen and paper, write down what he says, and if you want to do some public diplomacy and advocacy abroad, you have a strategic summary that is worth gold, and you'll even sound as if you know what you're talking about. I have personal experience. I simply quote the former Major General, and all of a sudden I sound like a Major General. It's as simple as that. A few months before the war, I came back from the Gaza border area, very excited. The head of the regional council told me about a new industrial zone collaboration with Gaza. He told me about tens of thousands of workers who will come into Israel from Gaza and help construction and GDP, and there were less rockets, there was hope for collaboration, and I was caught up in this conception. And I told him when I came back that I think that there's a full half of the cup and that there is hope for coexistence. But Amos said very simply, in clear terms, that he would like to teach me a word in Arabic. Hayat tichtatiben. A venomous snake, the most venomous, told me Amos, because Tiben means beneath the straw in the spring. The most venomous snake, and it's just like the story about the frog and the scorpion, that ultimately it's in our nature to kill Jews and we just can't help it. Amos was not deceived by the conception I was, but he warned me, Amos, the floor is yours.